Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of I Don't Give a Fuck About Your Opinion, which is 10 years old. So this is a G&G CM16 RAIDER, and this is a crappy stock tube they casted out of metal in one piece, so I cannot get my cable through it. This is the not functional bolt catch, which is actually quite okay. I don't care about a bolt catch. The plastic body is quite okay, the motor is quite shitty. Yes, this G&G motor is shitty. Note that, write that down. Anyway, the plastic body is a little bit too long on the end, so I cannot store batteries very well. The mag release is quite standard, I can just use a regular screwdriver to get it out. I have this ridiculous pin every M4 has, and that's it. We're on the gearbox. The gearbox is this crazy thing G&G decided to just, hey, let's do all the screws on the other side like no one does to make ourselves special. The retarded kind of special, if you know what I mean. We have a radiused gearbox and, let's be honest, the thing can endure a little torture testing. These are quite battle proven and I'm fine with that. What we are missing is a quick change system for the spring, so I'm holding it down. As mentioned, this thing is reinforced and radiused. This is really good. I like it. What I don't like is I got this crappy spring guide without any ball bearing, and yeah, I have to hold it down. I have this beautiful, absolutely standard piston, which is actually sealing quite okay. This tappet plate here is not standard. So if you want to drop in a new one, you have to work around this. Or you have to buy a G&G one, which is quite expensive. We have a nozzle without air seal, which is okay to me. We are talking about a quite cheap gun anyway. If we just remove this piston head, takes a second, we find this kind of a spacer, which is probably cheaper than getting a proper ball bearing in there. And we got this proprietary piston head, or piston, which secures the piston head from wobbling around, which is okay but unnecessary, I guess. We got these really, really tough gears. They are nice. I like them. What else? We got a standard switch. We got, yeah, standard safety. Everything else standard. So, no ball bearings at all. Not on the casing, not on the spring guide, nor on the piston head. The hop-up is, yeah, the absolutely standard one G&G builds, like, I don't know when G&G started to exist, and copied it from Tokyo Marui. Gonna make a hard cut, cause I lost something. This is actually the trigger guard. Can you see that? This thing has to hammer it in to get the trigger guard out. Then you have to pull it out and then you have to hammer it in again. This is quite ridiculous, as most producers just use a little spring and yeah, you can just push it in and get the trigger guard off. Well, details, but yeah. This is, by the way, what you can do if you tune these properly. Next up, and this is what this video is all about, I'm gonna compare all this to an SPECNAARMS Core, or better, to an SPECNAARMS FLEX. The SPECNAARMS FLEX is the most comparable one to an G&G CM16. It's the absolute beginner's line of SPECNAARMS, and it has an all nylon body like the G&G CM RAIDER. We got a pretty nice hop-up unit, rotary style. This is a plus. We got a really decent upper receiver, which is not wobbling around at all. We got the same stupid bolt catch. We got like the same fire selector. We got a beautiful crane stock. We got an all plastic stock tube. This is bad. G&G is metal. True. But in there, we got 2 points, which give it a little plus. First of all, it's fully compatible to TM parts, so we can exchange it to a metal one if we want. And we have this. Yeah, nice. We can just get our wiring properly. And look how short the body is. And look, I can just get this fucker off. Anyway, as you can see, the body is much shorter on the end. So this means it's not as stable as the G&G one, but you have a lot more battery space in there. And look at this, we have a quick change system, which is a vast improvement and makes life so much easier. And there are cheap spring guides for this kind of model with ball bearings coming, and this is like an improvement you can get with a screwdriver and like 1 minute of your time and around $5. So this is amazing. The cables are located at the back both. This is something you have to mention. The motor is as shitty as the G&G one. It's like the same thing. Maybe there are 2 Chinese companies building these. We have 4 screws securing the motor grip, which is really cool, cause people tend to screw up the screws. And if you kill 2 of them, you have still 2 of them left, which is good. I tend to take out 2 when I first disassemble it. So I will have 2 threads left if I mess them up in the future. Oh, and you can see the golden threads there. This is similar to the G&G. Very positive at this point to have metal threads. And we have a big screw to have the motor positioned properly. So, this pistol grip, by the way, is pretty standard, which is cool. Okay, what next? The mag release is similar to the G&G, just a simple screw, very easy to remove. This backplate here is actually quite nice for a cheap gun. Most of the time you have to rebuy these, but this one already got some attachment points. Okay, this is the gearbox. We got bushings, like in the G&G. Not the same material, but I don't care. We need to unscrew a shitload of screws, which are located on the right side of the gearbox. cause this is a pretty standard TM compatible gearbox casing, which is nice. Like on the G&G one, we have the radius, we have the reinforcement, and well, the finish is not as beautiful as the G&G one, but let's be honest, it's not about how fancy this gearbox casing is, it's just about what's inside. Inside, pretty blue internals. Let's check. The piston got no ball bearing like the G&G one. And it got metal teeth, which is good. Everything else is like the G&G one. The gears may be a little bit worse, but they work quite fine. The shimming is actually really good on these. And if I had to compare the performance stock-wise, I would always take the SPECNAARMS, as these tend to run a lot quieter and nicer, and this means a lot, cause just changing hop rubber or something for better performance is the easiest part. Oh, did I mention the price? The price of the SPECNAARMS is like 50 bucks less. In Germany, the G&G RAIDER comes around 200 and the SPECNAARMS around 150. And the rest of Europe, US and stuff, prices will be lower of course, but yeah, it's a major difference.